Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Also, welcome to the first day of Vlogmas. I am so excited to be filming Vlogmas this year. This is going to be the first time I've ever done it. So bear with me if things are late or not on time or you get 2 videos in one day and no video the next. Okay. This is my first time doing Vlogmas. I deserve a little bit of grace. Hopefully this video is going up on December 1st. For the rest of December, all the way up until Christmas, you will get 1 video a day. 25 videws you will receive at the end of December. Don't know why I was just talking like Yoda.
Just then, 25 videos you will receive.
Don't know where that came from, but you will have watched 25 videos from me, brand new, at the end of this month. Also, I'm gonna plug my Patreon really quick because I'm gonna be doing some extra fun stuff over there all month long in December. It's always linked down below. Come join the besties, join my book club. It is such a wonderful time. But today's video, to kick off Vlogmas, I'm going to be showing you my December TBR, every single book that I want to read this month. But before we get into the books, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Book of the Month. Y'all know I love working with Book of the Month, so I was super psyched to share this one with you guys. Are you ready to see some of their December picks? The books that I got this month are All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, which is a thriller by the same author as Flicker in the Dark, which I know so many people loved, and Kiss Her Once for Me by Allison Cochran, which is a sapphic Christmas romance. Are you kidding me? These are like the 2 polar opposite ends of my personality, and I love that they have both. And of course, as always, Book of the Month has a selection for everyone. They are a monthly subscription service in which you get a brand new hardcover release, sometimes an early release too, out of 5 to 7 picks that they have every month. Their picks are all over the map. There is always going to be a book that will appeal to you. They always have at least a thriller pick, a romance pick, and like a fantasy contemporary blah 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 pick, but there are 5 to 7 picks a month, so there's always something new to discover. And this month, I actually have an extra special code for you. Okay, listen up. If you've heard me pitch this before, you need to listen anew because this is a good deal. And it's great for gifting as well if you're still looking for a Christmas gift for someone on your list. This month, you can get your first book for $5. Hello? That's crazy. A new hardcover book for $5. Who else is doing that? Usually you could get it for around $15. That's what I pay every month. There are some times when they have a deal that you can get it for $10, like the past sponsorships that I've done with Book of the Month, but $5? I've never seen this. This is crazy. If you've been considering jumping on Book of the Month, now is the month to do it. I will link my link down below and make sure to use code WONDER for $5. You know, it's a little winter wonderland, code WONDER. All the information will be down below. This truly is an unbeatable deal, so I hope you guys will take advantage of it. You know how much I love Book of the Month. There are always multiple Book of the Month picks on my TBR. So yeah, I really just love the brand and I hope that you would get it for yourself or gift it to someone that you love. Thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's kickoff for Vlogmas. And now let's go ahead and get into the TBR. The first book on my TBR is Kiss Her Once for Me, okay? This was the one that I just talked about from Book of the Month. I cannot wait to read this. This book has everything. Okay, initiate Stefan mode because this book literally has everything. Okay, second chance romance, fake dating, holiday Christmas vibes, and a sapphic love story. What more could you want? Okay, I read The Holiday Swap last year, which I believe was also a Book of the Month pick, and I thought it was a sapphic romance because it had 2 women on the cover. It was not. I still really enjoyed that one and gave it 5 stars, but this one is, in fact, a sapphic romance, even though it has a man on a woman on the cover.
Cover designers, what are you doing? Not sure.
But what I do know is that this sounds so freaking good. This girl, our main character, has a whirlwind night in which she like falls in love with this woman. And then the next day her life is imploding. So it just like doesn't work out. They lose touch. She's dealing with all of this shit coming up in her life. Then later on, she gets wrapped up in this fake dating marriage of convenience situation with this guy. And she's like, whatever, I'll do it. It benefits both of us. She goes home with him for Christmas to pretend to be his fake fiance, fake wife, whatever. His sister is the girl that she had the night with. So I don't know if this is like a bi girl getting with a brother and sister. I don't know if this book goes that spicy, but I'm not going to say that's not what I'm hoping for. Staying on the romance train, also want to read Under the Mistletoe, Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayliss this month. I loved The 12 Dates of Christmas, which was by Jenny Bayliss. It was just so vibey. So I bought this one, intending to read it this month. I have no idea what it's about. Oh my gosh, this woman, her name is Noelle. Nori for short, is quite content running her secondhand bookshop in London. Oh. And she's gonna fall in love with a gardener named Isaac. Falling hard for the boy she used to consider an enemy, enemies to lovers, Christmas vibes, I'm here for it. And the last romance that I have on my TBR is Running Wild by K.A. Tucker. This is the 4th edition in the Simple Wild series. I absolutely love the Simple Wild universe, and I'm so excited to get into another book in this world. I was saving it for December because this is just the perfect atmosphere. If you don't know, the Simple Wild books take place in Alaska, so I'm ready for all the snowy, wintry love vibes. Next up, I'm going to jump into the contemporary slash speculative slash uncategorized books I want to read this month, because we have a couple that are non-thriller horror, but also not romance.
So, these are those.
First up, we have Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This one comes highly recommended by one of my in real life best friends, and she watched the show and she loved both, so she's begging me to read it. And she said that it's perfect for this time of year. It looks very like cozy on the cover, like the tents at night. It's giving chilly. And this is like a post-apocalyptic novel, I believe. Yeah, civilization comes to an end. Good. But there's a troupe of actors and musicians that are the traveling symphony. They dedicate themselves to keeping art and humanity alive in this like post-apocalyptic world. When they arrive in this new place, they encounter a violent prophet who threatens the tiny band's existence. Ooh, moving back and forth in time, a strange twist of fate connects them all. I love time travel shit, so hopefully I love this. Who knows if I'll get to it? You know, this one's kind of like a hopeful. She's out on a limb, but I hope I do end up reading it. And the contemporary that I wanted to read this month is The Winners by Frederick Bachman. This is the 3rd book in the Beartown series. For the past 2 years, I've read Beartown during the holiday season, and then last year I read Us Against You, which was the sequel, and now I'm on to the 3rd this year. In the Beartown series, we're following this little town, and their whole entire economy, their whole structure of the town completely is dependent on their hockey team. Tourism, the economy, literally everything is dependent on this team's success. And so something in the first book happened. It's very traumatic, that breaks apart the team. And we've been dealing with that controversy and just all the drama in this little Swedish town for the past 2 books. And I'm ready for the 3rd one, even though it's an absolute chunk. Hopefully I can get a hold of the audio that will help me out with this, because I believe it's like 600 pages. Yeah, it's over 600 pages, 670 pages.
Okay, I'm a little terrified.
Next up, let's get into horror, all the winter horror that I want to read this month in December. First up, I have Near the Bone by Christina Henry. Okay, this is a little bit of a creature feature. There is something out there in the woods, and our main character is living with her husband in this remote cabin when she comes across a dead animal, and she's like, okay, something's out there. Whether it's a human or some kind of creature, we are not alone in this remote wilderness like we thought we were. And then there's a subplot also going on that is a different kind of horror, which is a human horror, because I believe the relationship with the husband is abusive. So trigger warnings for that, but also very excited to see the like juxtaposition of the creature horror and the human horror. This sounds like right up my alley, and I've heard it's very wintry and atmospheric. Next up, we have something very, very similar to that was also coming highly recommended, and that is Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. And this is about a couple, again, who are staying in the wilderness at a romantic remote cabin getaway. But soon a chorus of ghastly noises erupts from the woods. Screams of animals, cries of children, and the mad babble of 100 mournful voices. A dark figure looms near their windows, whispering to the woman. And as the weather turns deadly, the man discovers his terrified fiance isn't mumbling in her sleep. She's whispering back to the voices. Oh my god, this sounds so good! And look at the snowy cover with the blood. Ugh, this is the perfect winter book. For a horror lover, it's really difficult, I think, to keep your reading going as a seasonal reader as well. Finding something that fits my mood, is horror, and is seasonal, kind of difficult. So this one is a win. I also think this next one is a win, and that is The Shuddering by Anya Allborn. Another bloody, snowy cover. This is basically a slasher book that takes place in the snow. So this big group of friends is getting picked off one by one by a killer. It's bloody, it's gory, it's Anya Allborn, so you know it's gonna be fantastic. And the final horror book that I have on my TBR is The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I've been wanting to pick up something by her for quite a while now. My patrons, the besties, finally are the ones who convinced me to do it, and I ordered The Winter People on their recommendation. This is a historical horror, and I've heard it's a little slow moving, so I'm a little worried, but I want to give this author a try since she's so beloved in the horror community. We are following a woman in present day who is going through grief, death, someone died that she knows, and she is living in the house where historically another death took place. So we're following that timeline in 1908 with the mysterious death of Sarah Harrison Shea. So these are going to be like parallel stories, but one is like way in the past and one is in the present, and there's mysterious death going on. Finally, we are into the last and biggest section of my TBR, which is, of course, mystery thrillers. The biggest category that I read from on this channel. Well, I don't know, the last couple months we've read mostly horror, but I'm going back to my roots in December, kicking it off with our Pretty Girl Book Club pick. I mentioned my Patreon at the beginning of this video. That is where I host my book club. If you want to join the Pretty Girl Book Club and read along with us this month, that link will be down below. And this month, in the month of December, we're reading A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham, the book that I actually referenced at the very beginning of this video when I was talking about the Book of the Month picks. Stacey Willingham's other book was the thriller pick this month for Book of the Month. And I also, as you can see, got this one from Book of the Month as well. I've heard so many good things about it. I don't know why I haven't read it yet, but this is the one that the besties voted for to read this month. So we're going to be having a discussion about it towards the end of the month. I'm very excited. And this is about missing girls. Okay, so 6 girls went missing during this woman's teenage years. And by the end of the summer, her own father had confessed to the crimes and been put away for life. She was grappling with it, trying to move forward, and now 20 years later, she's a psychologist getting ready for her wedding. Wait, I'm a therapist and I'm getting ready for my wedding. She finally has a fragile grasp on happiness, but sometimes she feels out of control. So when a local teenage girl goes missing and then another, that terrifying summer comes crashing back to her. For the second time in her life, is she about to unmask a killer? This sounds so good. I'm so happy they picked this book, and I've heard so much good about it. Could this be a last minute for top 22 books of 2022? I don't know. You'll have to stick around. Next up, I have another little small town murder mystery, and that is Where the Truth Lies by Anna Bailey. This book takes place in a small suburban community in Colorado, so very atmospheric for this time of year. And it's just straight up domestic drama, okay? This girlie, this little teenage girl, goes missing and the moms are in a fuss. They're all talking about what their kids were doing, what they should tell the police, da-da-dee-da. But our main character has secrets of her own, and in a tinderbox of small town rage, all it takes is one spark. Now, I really enjoyed reading our last month's pick. The November Pretty Girl Book Club pick was Temper by Lane Fargo, and I also did the Good for Her recommendation video in November. I will link it above and below if you missed it. But since doing that video, so many people have been recommending me even more Good for Her thrillers to check out. So this month in December, I'm going to read one of them, and that is We Are All the Same in the Dark by Julia Heberlin. And I believe that I've had this on a TBR in the past. Something about it just really draws me in, and I'm finally gonna get to it. This is also about missing girls. Okay, it's a 3 different POV mystery thriller as we track down who is killing women, and there's allegedly like crooked cops and dark violent mythology of a small town. All of these thrillers sound really similar, but now that I know that this is Good for Her vibes, this is definitely going to be the one that I'm going to be prioritizing. The next thriller I put on my December TBR simply because of the cover. It is snowy and I want some wintry, snowy books this month. So I have Breathless by Amy McCulloch, yet another Book of the Month pick. If you didn't believe me the first time, I'm obsessed with Book of the Month. And this is a like survival thriller. So this journalist is interviewing a guy as he's like hiking one of the highest peaks and like on the side of the snowy mountain. And then one of the hikers on the journey to the summit dies and completely throws off the entire rest of the hiking party. The journey is in a remote area, it's dangerous, and it's too late to turn back. And our main character will have to battle more than the elements in a harrowing fight for survival against a killer who's picking them off one by one. So this is not just survival like of nature. This is also survival of a killer. I didn't know that part of it, and that sounds so good. The last book that I have on my TBR is one that I've actually tried to read before this year, but I really want to finish it because it was a 5-star prediction for 2022. So I want to read it and tell y'all, obviously, if the prediction was correct. And that is The Plot by John Humph
Corlitz. Have I ever said this author's name out loud? I don't know.
This was a 5-star prediction for me. It got so much hype at the beginning of this year and the end of last year. I really thought I was going to enjoy it, but it's so slow. I have listened to the first chapter on audio and I just couldn't get into it. I thought maybe it was a mood thing, so I'm going to come back to it and see if I have the same problem. Hopefully a 5-star prediction doesn't end up being a DNF, but we'll see. This book is about a guy who is a literature professor, and one of his students has this crazy idea for what would be like the best plot of all time for a book. And then the student dies. So he's like, you know what? This kid didn't tell anyone else the plot to this book. I'm just going to take the idea for myself. So he writes this book. It is like allegedly the best plot ever. He's famous. He's this best-selling author. And then someone finds out what he's done. That he's stolen the plot, and they come after him in some way. And allegedly the book within a book that is like the best plot ever is written in here. If this author is really talking about a plot that they came up with being the best plot of all time, and they're like writing it as a book within a book, that's a little cringe to me just on the jump. But I'm gonna give it a try. We'll see. Maybe we'll have a good dragging in a vlog. I don't know. But with that, those are all of the books that I'm going to be reading this month in December for Vlogmas. Like I said, I'm going to be vlogging every single book that I read this month, so make sure you turn on notifications and watch every single Vlogmas video for my thoughts on all of these books. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to Book of the Month for sponsoring. Check them out down below, and don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week. I will see you in my next one tomorrow. Bye!